The economists kind of describe economies either micro or macro. So macro, in its purest form, is that you have either a global or a national economic kind of climate that you're dealing in, and so you have to understand that within an economic system, whether it's global or national, or whether it's even a little more localized, when you look at that kind of economy, that may very well dictate what price you're going to get at a particular time. So it may be somebody says, for one reason or another, I have to sell this business and I have to have it sold within months, as opposed to within, well, I'm looking to sell it. I get the right buyer, let's do this, we'll start working, I'm looking at selling this in a year to 2 years, things of that nature. Those factors kind of can change, so you don't look at them as closely in the beginning. But if somebody has an imminent sale, then you kind of have to look at that, because certainly it's going to impact that. Then you have microeconomics, which you can either describe as being on a more localized scale when you're dealing with kind of the generalized economy, but it also too applies to the particular sector that you're in. In other words, you may have something, just to kind of give an example, in COVID right now, most of the economy is not doing particularly well. Stock market still seems to be doing quite well. People are, that are more adept in that particular area than I am, say it's a bubble, it's may burst, but the stock market's doing well. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get a lot for the sale of the property, especially if you're not dealing with a publicly owned company that actually trades stocks publicly. So you have to kind of look at that. You've got, in our economy right now, you've got, interestingly enough, some of the economy is very flat, and yet in real estate here locally, it's kind of a seller's market where there's not a whole lot of activity, but the amounts that sellers are asking for is fairly high relative to other particular time frames. So if you're selling a real estate business versus you're selling some type of manufacturing business, those things are kind of sector specific. So you may have a technology sector, you may have a real estate sector, you may provide some type of goods or services to a particular business that's doing quite well, and you could really cash in on the timing. In real estate, they say location, location, location. Well, when you're selling a business, it's timing, timing, timing. So it just all depends on the sector that you're in, and the economics. Those things can affect the value of the business, no matter how well that particular business is performing within the macroeconomics and within the sector. It still may be such that those kind of outside climates affect it to the point where it would be a lower value or a higher value than normal.